Hello, my name is Matt. I was a Plone developer for about 10 years, and I've spent the last year becoming a mobile developer instead. I just wanted to have a brief look at Ionic. Noel, did anyone make it to Noel's talk this morning? Talking about, like, nobody, that's amazing. Noel did a great talk on progressive web apps with Ionic. But we've been using it to actually deploy web apps to the device and take advantage of the native stuff on there. So a quick primer, Ionic is basically Angular 2, which has been talked about lots already here, Cordova, which is a bridge to the native capabilities of the mobile device. And then they've spent a lot of time on the UI layer, basically making styles that mimic the built-in styles so that you can very easily build a mobile app that looks like it fits on the variety of platforms that you're building it for. So I'm going to give a quick demo of an app that I pulled together. This is, you can download this on GitHub, and this is basically using the Plone REST API, which has also been talked about lots, to create a simple review queue app. So one of the nice things about Ionic is that you can, because it's basically using web views, you can develop it like an Angular application, and here we've got the previews of all three, well, I say all three platforms. There's this third platform called like Windows Mobile, which I think is a new thing that Microsoft are experimenting with, but we don't do much with. But then you've got Android and iOS. I'm just going to quickly go to this plugin that I have here. Some items there. So I can then go in and I can pull to refresh on all of these, and I get some news items in there, which I can look at. It's just HTML behind the scenes, so I can quickly go.
Yes, Emacs.
Yes, Emacs. Thank you. Woo! None of this PyCharm nonsense. You can quote me on that. So I've just stuck some buttons in the end there, so they give you a nice grid, and you can see that it kind of styles the buttons to look. You get this drop shadow on Android, and yeah, I can accept that one on there. If I go in here, there you go. That was being published now. I can refresh this one, go to this one, and publish that one. Like that. So, how do I do for time?
You've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes left. All right. So I've just got time to run make Xcode. So this is now going to compile that and give me an actual app that I can use in Xcode, which that takes about a minute. So I'll move on to my next slide, which is why would you want to do this? Because most of what I just demoed there you could do with a progressive web app. But one of the things I don't really have time to demo is that Ionic gives you a lot of bridging points into the native elements of mobile. So we use it a lot for taking pictures, and so you've got 3D touch, barcode scanning, Bluetooth, camera, deep linking, Touch ID, JavaScript, NFC, all these things that you can't do unless you, on the web, you can basically build them into Angular and use those. And people have written Cordova is basically a bridge to all 3 different devices, so that your UI is kind of generic, and then it uses native code on all the different devices to do those things. Yeah, let's see whether, no, not quite. You can download it there. I'll just leave that URL there for a minute so you can memorize it. And there's some instructions on there. Is this going to build in time? This is the big question. Let me quickly. Oh, it's the quiet clapping. Come on. I'm just going to retract this one and then some bit of complication. Okay, come on. Oh my goodness. Clean CSS, seriously? My CSS is fine, thank you very much. I mean, things like this, I mean, JS doesn't need any more modifying. Okay, we're there. I've got Xcode. I'm going to go. There you go.
Okay, and let me just say that Nano still remains the official editor of choice. Next up is Tom Rose with Collected Sorted Listing.
Hi, I'm Tom. I wanted to show you a Plone add-on I recently developed, and it's called Collected Sorted Listing. And you probably okay, that's better probably. And you're probably familiar with the query string widget, which is used for content listing in Mosaic and for collections as the content type. But sometimes the sorting, which is provided by the catalog, is not enough. And we have the requirement for a customizable sorting for the editors. So that was the main requirement, that the CMS editors can do this sorting on their own. We wanted to reuse components as much as possible, and we don't want to access the objects themselves the way they up. We use the catalog as it grains as they come from the content listing, and we even wanted to mix sorted or unsorted data, which works out that the new data which comes from the listing is put after the sorted listing. And I don't do a live demo, but to show a little video. So this is the Mosaic editor for all to download. You should use it. It works and it's stable. And we have the content listing here, and we'll select a person in this case. Do some additional filtering. So, and you see it here, and now you can move that around. And this is the sorting which is used in the front. And you see it's an alpha version. You see the sorting is down here, and the UIDs are moving. We're working on the next version where this is gone, and the UI is a little bit more polished. And you see the ordering is now according to the drag and drop. Which is the same in the front end. That's it.
Thank you very much. Next up is Nate Subban with Niteo Handbook. And after that it'll be Chris Shelton. So if you could move slightly up to the front, that will be helpful.
Our company has recently been 10 years old, and we had a big anniversary party. And after quite an amount of locally brewed beer, we realized that while we are open sourcing our code, we're not open sourcing our processes, which are kept hidden from the public in our intranet. So we cleaned them up and published a handbook. So if you go to github/intelllabs/handbook, you can read all about how we're running an open source remote first company for 10 years and still being profitable. So yeah, there's quite a number of gems in there. For those of you who are in teams or maybe team leaders, how to do remote work, maybe how to do profit sharing, which is what we do. And our people regularly get headhunted by famous big startups and giving them or offering them twice the salary, but they still stay in our team. So I think we're doing something right, and many of the reasons what we're doing right are in this handbook. So enjoy.
that's big.
Multi-adapter.
Multi-adapter doesn't work. No, they never do. Next up, which is undoubtedly the most intriguing title, serverless Python for astronaut safety. Ooh. Christian.
My name's Chris. I haven't been with Plone people for a while. I've done anything for about 4 years. That was about the time when we bid on a NASA contract to move about 100 applications into the cloud, public cloud, including one of the bigger websites in the federal government, www.nasa.gov. We submitted a proposal, and our team won, and they said, brilliant, fantastic technical approach. The only thing is, you can't use Plone. We did. You have to use Drupal. So instead of doing Drupal and selling my soul to the Drupal devil, I spent my time working on serverless infrastructure, cloud infrastructure, and building cloud-native applications, and this is the latest one we've done, which we just delivered last month. In July 2013, one of the astronauts doing the spacewalk had a coolant leak, and his helmet started filling up with water, and he was in danger of drowning. He was outside doing the spacewalk, and his helmet was fogging up. He couldn't even see to get in practically, near miss. They have a lot of architectural and CAD designs for spacesuits and helmets, and a lot of them are on paper, because NASA hardware, when it's proven to be successful, they can't just change it. It's not agile development for hardware. So they have a ton of paper, and a lot of these tests are done in what they call a pyro lab. So they can't take in laptops, things with RF emitters, things that might spark, things that might blow up. So they have about 100,000 pages of reports and tests that need to take the scans and extract the alphanumeric information, the textual information from it, and then go back to that and try and find out where the fault was. How are these things linked together, and where's the fault? The volume, however, was so much that the current data integration system couldn't handle it. So they were saying, okay, we'll just take the first page of each of these reports, just so at least we have something. So they found us. We're doing something sort of similar with serverless, and we worked together on something. That's a picture of 100,000 pages. That's how much they have to process and ingest every month. So our approach was to exploit parallelism as much as possible. We take each of the PDF reports, which can be up to 500 pages, we split it into 500 individual pages. We then throw those at individual lambdas, which will execute in parallel and launch spontaneously. When you store these pages into Amazon S3 storage, it can be configured to launch a lambda per each object you store. So you store 500 pages, each is separate documents, and it launches 500 lambdas. They get then stored back and launches 500 things to combine the documents and so on. I'll show you a diagram in a minute. The goal was to minimize cost for me. And lambdas are cool because when they're not being run, when they're not doing something, they aren't billing you for anything. So you're charged about the 10th of a second. And I wanted to minimize costs, so I didn't use a database. I used some tricks just for structuring the data storage. So why Lambda? I have just an example application. If you have 1,000 2-second HTTP requests on a small EC2 instance, it costs about $16 a month. If you use Lambda, the same thing will cost you about $1.50, a 10-to-1 savings. It's event-driven. You store something in S3, it causes the Lambda to run, and that process goes, and then you're only charged for that. It automatically scales. You throw 500 pages into your S3, it launches 500 lambdas. You don't have to auto-scale like you normally do. Auto-scaling in a conventional cloud environment takes about 5 minutes per server. Security, nothing to attack, no logins, everything's root, the only thing to write to is temp. And encourages a small microservice type of architecture pattern, which is really nice. So here's what we did. The EDI people inject a document into our S3 bucket in a specific directory. It causes a page. That page causes a lambda, first lambda to fire. That splits the document into a bunch of pages. It stores those into another directory. That causes up to 500 lambdas to each OCR, each of those pages. It puts them back. It puts the text back into the bucket again. It causes 500 more lambdas to fire up. And they say, okay, the gallows pages, gallows pages, gallows pages, gallows pages. Oh, gallows pages. Great. I'll combine that document into a single big JSON associated with page number with text. And then I'll give that back to the data integration search API. Works beautifully. So here's what it looks like. The green items are the most important things. It gives you the key, basically the file name, and the bucket that you get, and then your code can process that. The things in red are things we had to add later to detect when Amazon, surprisingly, gives us duplicate events for the same object. So, basic Python code. For each record that you get in an event, you grab your bucket, you grab the key, and you grab the E tag, which we use to detect duplications. The done key stuff is we store another key that says, I've already looked at this, because you can get an echo of that request, and you don't want to process a file that's already been processed. So we then process the file. It's pretty simple. Once you get that key and bucket, you can download the file and do anything you want to with it. So I've been looking at almost any new problem as kind of like, but will it land? Can we break down the problem into something that we can build in small microservices and use event triggers to cause these things to run instead of big monolithic applications? The scaling is so fast, you don't have to do anything, it just happens automatically. And we've been using the serverless framework, which was really nice. You define all your resources, like S3 and Lambdas. You define the events, like if something was created in S3 or something was delivered in S3. And then you map those events to the Lambda functions that do the work. And that's it. It's been great. I now look at all problems as will it Lambda. It's good stuff.
Next up is Philip Powers. So you want to edit me. And Sebastian, you are next. And there is still room, so if you want to practice your dancing skills or your singing, there you can do. Yeah, we have one candidate. Okay. Philip, here we go.
I won't sing, don't worry. I'm Philip Bauer. I don't have a slide, so I just put my company website. That's me from Staffel.de. Yeah. So just a quick thing about collective field edit, a package I just released, I think last week. The issue is when you edit something in Plone, you have plenty of fields, as many fields as you have permissions to edit. The solution for this is obviously a custom form, which allows you to edit only the fields that you want, but you have to handle them, deal with them, register them, maybe run them in Z3 form if you want. I created a small helper method that provides a view. That's too big. I'll have to. Again.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm the technician up here, and yeah, the power went down. We have to wait a little bit for the projector to come up again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we have a global energy outage.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. Sorry.
No meteorites. Okay. Maybe someone does something without screens because mine is totally useless without a screen. Someone has to share the story and dance thing.
Alexander, is your talk without slides?
Without.
You don't have a computer anyway. So you can skip the line. You have 3.5 minutes left. Well, no,
Okay, there's a very simple browser view. It's called Field Edit Form, and if you render that browser view in on a content type, you can edit exactly this field and only this field. I'll do it just to prove to this that it actually works. Save, and now the text has changed. You can do the same with multiple fields. So now I have the title and the tags. I can do the same with yeah, you can display fields and edit them at the same time. So I'm passing here, I'm saying rich text column display, and unrelated items edit. So here only edit this, but display the other one. It's always irritating when you don't see that it's actually a form. You can. It's very nice to use in a modal. Example here. Why did we do that? Because we have a client that has a content with a lot of fields. Here's an example. So you have a categorization tab, and we just add 4 of the fields. You can edit simultaneously, but not all of them, or you just click the one that you want to edit, and you do that here. Similar with so you can concatenate. It's really easy to build a user interface for that. It is on GitHub as collective field edits on Python. The tests will pass in a couple of seconds in Plone 5.1, and it has really high test coverage because it has only very few lines. It respects field permissions, very important. It respects the schema hints, like which widget you want. For example, the date field. Do I have a couple of seconds? Then I will click here, and you see an event can only start from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. So this information is stored on the schema, and so you don't have to customize your form. It's a small helper. It uses the default edit form and just does some magic with it, so it's actually very little code, and I'd love you to try it and make your life easier. Thank you.
And here's your midterm reminder. You can still fill out that form that Sally handed out. If you're still missing one, you can discreetly scuttle to the front and get one. And if you hate a full IDE, just do it for the community. It's really nice if you start nominating and tomorrow voting on those add-ons that we as the collective brain really like.
So hi, I'm Sebastian. I work at the Technical University of Dresden, and we run a rather large Plone website there, and I thought some of you also run a large website and maybe face the same problems as we do with CSS. If you reuse lots of CSS rules, and you should do, and you reuse lots of page elements or tiles if you use Mosaic, and mix these page elements, you are often in danger of unwanted changes, CSS changes or visual bugs. You change the CSS of one element and 5 others look ugly or buggy. And that was or is a problem for us. Every time we do an update, we have to test manually. So one of us tests about 2 days everything to be sure that everything is okay. And the tester needs lots of knowledge. How should it look, and what are actual changes to distinguish these from errors. So the general solution is CSS regression testing or visual regression testing. You save screenshots of a tested version and take these as ground truth. And if you change something, or if you want to make an update, you do the same. You make the same screenshots and compare them to the ground truth, and then you know what has changed, and you can look what are the real changes, and if there are no bugs, no changes that shouldn't be there, you can take these screenshots as new ground truth. And this is an example for it. The same screenshot, or the screenshot of the same site, but with differences. And on the right side, you see the bug or the change. There are some things we wanted to have when we implement this, or implement it in our process. We wanted to test our responsive design, and of course wanted to integration with Jenkins, and wanted to avoid many duplicate errors. So maybe you want not the whole site is screenshot, but only some single elements selected by CSS selectors. And we wanted to reuse our tests in our test setup, and that's the difficult part because we use a lot of robot tests, and so we have to integrate it in some way. But robot framework uses Selenium, and Selenium can do screenshots. So we extended the robot test with CSS regression tests, and we can now reuse our tests and have Jenkins integration for free because we used it before. We have self-made image comparison, what is not a rocket science, and self-made keywords, and now we can use this keyword on the bottom to simply fire a CSS regression test. Then what it looks like in the test report. There is a difference, as you can see, and there are challenges anyway, and this is that screenshots are bitmaps, and you don't simply do bitmap comparison because on every machine the screenshot looks different. Every machine does different font smoothing and has different scroll bars and 1 pixel offsets. And the next steps we want to do is facing these problems, maybe use another image processing library, Python Needle, Resample.js, or there are some others too. And we want to look if it really flies. And maybe next year, I heard there is a Plone Conf again. Maybe we can present some results. Thank you.
So next up will be David Dane, and after that Alexander squared. 2 Alexanders behind each other. So first that Alexander, then that Alexander. Löchel and Pils, if I pronounce it correctly. So David, the floor is yours.
Alright, so I thought I would share some of my sprint ideas, because maybe the first, okay, what's going on here? Not fun. Alright, maybe the persons out there who haven't figured out what they want to sprint on, or something like that. So, here are a couple of sprint ideas that I've been playing with, and I certainly can't do all of them. I'm still trying to figure out which one I'm going to do. Figma. Figma is a UI development, UX development tool where you can draw and design stuff, but it's great for creating components. So if you're interested in atomic design, it might be interesting to create some baseline components for Plone, which you can then share with the community so people can do mockups faster for things. Implement a better avatar / profile pic support. Right now, avatar profile pic is still not so great, but I think Jensen has been looking at that, and it would be interesting to do some work on that. CI/CD happy path, trying to figure out a way to improve just out of the box how CI and CD can be set up for Plone. That might involve working with Bob Templates Plone and just getting that down and maybe documenting it. Yeah. An interactive UX around link sharing, just to improve the user experience for when someone adds a link. I know we can do some of that with Mosaic, and there may be other options for doing that. That's the one I'm least confident about doing, but maybe other people might find that interesting. Creating video training, so you don't necessarily have to be a developer to do this, but maybe if you know enough about Plone, you could make a 3-minute video, for example, installing Plone in a sandbox. But I can't play this whole video because then I'll be out of time. Creating video training, so you don't necessarily have to be a developer to do this, but maybe if you know enough about Plone, you could make a 3-minute video, for example, installing Plone in a sandbox. But I can't play this whole video because then I'll be out of time. Creating video training, so you don't necessarily have to be a developer to do this, but maybe if you know enough about Plone, you could make a 3-minute video, for example, installing Plone in a sandbox. But I can't play this whole video because then I'll be out of time. or, okay, that's the wrong thing there, a system for theme customization for Plone. The idea behind that is we need to figure out a standardized way of doing stuff. We have all the tools, we have Piazza and everything, and we have resources. We have a lot of HTML themes and things like that that are available for free, as well as even theme forests where you can get cheap themes. But somebody needs to sit down, look at the patterns and structures, and come up with a standardized approach that can speed up the time that it takes to port themes over the Plone. We've had little attempts at it, but maybe it needs a little more effort, because I don't think it's that hard, but there's that initial effort to kind of document the process, get some good practices in place, and do it. Those are my ideas.
So, could you imagine what is the worst thing that could happen to you if you're going to a tech conference? For me, what's happened was, I got to the training on Monday, opening my MacBook, and it keeps black. The MacBook totally failed. So, what have I done? Have looked, could I get it up? No. I've gone to the Apple Store, tried to get it checked, get it repaired. They couldn't do that within 1 week, they said. And it's even extremely expensive. So, what do you do if you do have to talk at a conference? And that's the amazing thing of the Plone family. I said it to the others, and what's happened? Someone from Munich brought me my spare laptop so I can sprint later on. They helped me to recover my talks from the cloud and everything, finishing it, so I can give my talks tomorrow. And they tried even to give me an installer and everything to set up a new macOS on a USB stick to try it. Well, it did not work, but hey, it's a Plone family. Even the computer support from Apple did not make it possible what the community can happen or can do. And that's the fantastic thing. So there's always a thing in the Plone community that works. We help each other. And that's a fantastic thing. And I want to say thank you to you all for having me.
And I'm quite partial, I must admit, it also proves that the black machines, although maybe not as sleek, are unkaputtbar, as the Germans say, and it's always handy to have them around for a spare. And so we move on smoothly to the next Alexander.
Soon there is no room for more adapters on this desk. What does that mean in English? Not yet. Completely stressed out. Yeah. I'm totally stressed out. This conference is killing me. Every conference is. Because the moment I arrive and I'm really happy about attending the conference, something happens at my company. They call in, they send emails, things break down. It's just one day is gone, and they send me a Word file, and marketing wants me to write something about the conference. I wanted to hear the lightning talks, and I haven't heard half of them, and I need to get this done, otherwise they'll probably not allow me to do this again. I need to crowd process this quickly. What can I do? I've actually no idea. Let me go to the internet. I make a workspace for it. Let's have a workspace. I upload this damn fucking document. Sorry, I'm really stressed out. Document is in there now. What do I do? It's here. It's Manuel, Alessandro. Are you here? Can you help me? Alessandro, can you do this? Can we do this together?
Okay.
I think this. Here's my document. Yeah, let's work on this together, okay? We do that just quickly now. Of course, they send the text in German. Yeah, it's already in the internet. I see. You need access, I guess. Huh? Back to my site. I'm completely stressed out. What's your name again? Oh, yeah. That was my site. You have to add him. And I guess Wolfgang can take a look at this right away now because he wants me to do this. So let's get in there. Of course, they send it in German, and I also have to translate it to English. That is going to be report on the first day. My God, I should read Mauriz's blog posts. Okay, the first day was great. That's not really helpful. Okay, Alessandro, can you take over? Thanks a lot. And that's it. Plone Intranet. If you want to know more, there's a talk tomorrow.
So, unless somebody has the real urge now to come up and has a spontaneous one, we have room for one more, and then two more, yes, well, we have time. Then then also Victor has more time to run around, because Victor will announce the area, which is sort of the recommended area for tonight for your food. That area has only very small restaurants, so you will have to sort of parallelize yourself, because otherwise we will be really DDoSing all the restaurants. So have parallel processes, and we will designate a larger place where they have liquid refreshments where we can then all convene together afterwards. And I have no idea where it is, but Victor will show you, and he's now getting his laptop. So, but we still have time for two short ones. Yes,
It's a real short thing. I was in the Plone training with David, and he showed a pie chart, so I'm going to use an imaginary slide. Imagine there's a donut up there, or a circle. And 1/4 of it was WordPress, I think it was. And then there was a little sliver there for Plone. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch being used by Amazon and Netflix. And so and of course, a little sliver for Odoo and whatever. And the thought was, going back to conversations I had some years ago, in discussions in the Plone community, about 5-6 years, I guess, where some of the people said, well, we want Plone to be really hard and difficult so that we can keep more for ourselves and make more money. And then I thought, well, what would happen if that percentage, that little sliver of usage of Plone on the internet got up to 10% or 15% or 25%? Then would those consultants be making more money? Would there be more work for consultants for the deeper application development? And I'm imagining a circle up there because I'm also imagining that there would be a heck of a lot more work. So I still want to keep it out to the community that if we can make certain things easier for the developer side, that making Plone bigger is actually going to help everyone and grow the community and make the world a safer place. Thank you.
And then the last lightning slot of the day, and while Maurits, the man who blogs faster than his shadow, is coming on stage, let me do the final plug for the add-on nomination, please fill it in and drop it in the box at the reception or at the registration desk on your way out. And yeah, Maris, off you go.
So I'm going to talk shortly about, I shall talk shortly here in the microphone. Maurits van Rees, working for software here with my colleague Fred. And I've been working on collective recipe backup, adding some features the past couple of months for a client in Belgium, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say which client, but some university. And also here. The biggest thing is a new blob timestamps option. Usually if you don't use this, then okay, you create a backup and you get a blob store at 0. Then for another backup, the second backup, okay, that gets renamed to blob stores at 1. And with rsync, they get synced and you get a new blob stores at 0. And after blob timestamps, you get the timestamp in the name, which is basically the same timestamp as you get for the data FS with the reposal backup. And that also means that we can actually link the two together and make it more easier for the code to see, hey, which blob backup belongs to which kind of file system, file storage backup. So that helps, and that also means we can automatically remove old blob backups that don't belong to any of the current file storage backups. Otherwise you would have to, currently you would need to add things like how many file storage backups do you keep, and how many blob days do you keep, and it can be hard to keep in sync for how you do backups and ZIO packs. So this should help a lot with that. Upcoming in a new version, there's a pull request for this, is incremental blob backups. That basically only means if you use tarballs for backing up your blobs, which is another option. Then with the incrementals, you can, it uses the listed incremental option of the tar command. Then you get a big tarball and certain .snar and snapshots archive file which has some metadata, and knows, okay, we have the big tarball and a delta tarball and another delta tarball, and they belong together, which is basically the same as the file storage backups, so they look more alike. Those were the biggest things. Then if you've been using the gzip blob option, or you renamed it to the archive blob option, because that's what it really did. It's created a tarball in case you didn't want to use rsync. And instead there's a new compress blob option, which actually makes a zip file out of that. Mostly also because I saw that when you really use, if you create a tarball of a blob storage that is, say, about 5.1 gigabytes, if you make a tarball and zip it, then yeah, maybe that brings it down to 5.0 gigabytes, because mostly it will just be optimized images and PDFs, so they can't really compress anymore. But it can take, instead of 15 seconds, it will take a minute. So by default, we're not compressing them anymore if you use that option. On your default, there's no full backup scripts anymore created by default. You can still if you want to, but I don't think many people use that. And there's now Python 3 support. And if you, it might help if you use a Plone recipe ZOP2 instance recipe which works with Python 3, which I don't think exists yet, but the work has been done in the recipe backup, so go make some backups. Thank you.
Okay, those were the last of the lightning talks. I can blabber on a bit while we plug this in. One of the things I might draw attention to, that there is an ever so slight chance that there might be some rain this evening or tomorrow, and nothing to impress a Dutch person. But the general reaction here to rain is the same as when in Holland there is 3 millimeters of snow, namely a complete traffic breakdown. So be aware prepare that if you use a bus to get here and it has rained, sometimes it takes a bit longer. So get up a bit earlier. It happens when it rains here, it has been known to happen. It shouldn't happen, but it does.
Okay, sorry, my voice is already taking. Oh, come on. Just return to the original. Sure. Okay. Okay. Today, finding a place for us to all meet, being the number of people that we are, is nearly impossible. So we are going to make proposals of zones into that we can gather all the people that want to join us later. So today we thought that we can go near Plaza Catalunya, which is here, and yes, and go to have dinner anywhere you like. Around there are plenty of places. The great majority of those places are small places, so please go and choose the one of your liking, and then after that maybe we can enjoy all together in a very typical place, which is La Ovella Negra. In English is the Black Sheep, and it's a very typical tavern where we really can go and hang a bit all together after dinner. And that's it. Thank you to all of you for today. I hope that it will be you had great talks. And so see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
We will tweet about the exact location of La Ovella Negra, and so you can reach it.